Hey fellow Nevillers, here we are back again with a personal share. Day 29, nearly made it to the big 30. I'm up in Neville's Imagination Creates from 1968. He gives us a fabulous story in this lecture, as well as a million other things, that shows how one lady used spiritual sensation and all her five senses. Sharing this lecture, fellow Nevillers, will enable us to see how to use those five senses with our spiritual sensations. So let's dive in. Neville gives us this story. Let's see how he says it. He says, "Let me tell you a story of a lady I know who travelled in her imagination. When this lady was about 16, she lived in Northern California. She was devoted to her father, who lived high, wide and handsome. He supplied all of the family's needs very well until the day he was killed. Then, overnight, the family discovered they had nothing. Her mother, feeling she could not stand being ridiculed, moved the family to San Francisco, where the girl, although possessing outstanding artistic talent, found employment as a waitress in order to help the family. Taking the streetcar home from work that first Christmas Eve, she found the car filled with young boys and girls, singing and happy, and she could not restrain the tears. Luckily for her, it was raining, so she extended her face to the heavens and let the rain mingle with her tears. As she tasted the salt of her tears, she said to herself, 'This is not a streetcar, but a ship, and I am not tasting my tears, but the salt of the sea and the wind.'" So here we can see this lady. She's upset because she's not wherever she wants to be. She's in the streetcar seeing all these young kids, girls and boys having a wonderful time, and she's sad. And just like all of us, we shed tears. Instead of shedding tears and thinking of them as tears, she thought of them as rain. Let's see how Neville continues. "While she physically held the rail of the streetcar, she mentally touched the rail of a ship moving into Samoa. Physically tasting the salt of her tears, she imagined it was the salt of the sea." So there you go again. He's showing us some more spiritual sensation. What it is in 3D, but what we can turn it into in 4D, i.e. our imagination. As the streetcar reached its destination, she was entering the Bay of Samoa, feeling the moonlight shining on her body and hearing a voice say, "Isn't it a heavenly night?" 2 weeks later, this girl received a check for $3,000 from a law firm in Chicago. If this happens to you, fellow Nevillers, be sure to leave something in the comments, and I will too. It seems that 2 years before, her aunt had left the United States, requesting that if she did not return, the money was to be given to her niece. Within 1 month, the girl was on a ship sailing for Samoa. Coming into the bay, she saw a ship ploughing through the water, leaving lovely white foam in its path. We've all seen that. Well, if we've been to, well, surely we've all seen that. I've seen it personally. When you see a ferry go across the ocean, you see that lovely white foam they leave behind. As the moonlight touched the wake, its spray touched her face, and a man standing near said, "Isn't it a heavenly night?" At that moment, her outer senses experienced what she had used her inner senses to make real. Now, Imagination, being spiritual sensation, is the creator of the world. With her 5 senses, sight, sound, sense, taste and touch, she transformed a streetcar in San Francisco into a ship in the South Pacific. And within 1 month, she physically fulfilled her imaginal act. We'll leave that story right there. Isn't that just bloody marvellous? Excuse my language. I find things like this, the stories that Neville shares, absolutely wonderful. Imagine that, fellow Nevillers, standing in a streetcar, seeing kids everywhere. It makes you sad, you cry, and then you imagine that those salty tears you're tasting are the salt of the sea. And also the tears, you can mingle them with the rain. There's lots of hints in this story that Neville shares. I hope you found it useful. I know you found it useful. I sure did. Leave a comment, fellow Nevillers, and let me know how you're getting along with your wishes and your desires, and I will do the same. See you tomorrow for some more fabulous Nevilleaholic info. Bye-bye.